Hello, hello. I'm very early today, so I'm just gonna goof around for a little bit. Yep, I'm still trying to get ready. Normally, I just sit here for 15, 20 minutes anyway. Might as well go live. I think I got everything. Yeah. Matthias Belander is here. Hello, hello. Keith Callahan, Tommy Taylor. Good to see you. Yeah, right on time. And we're on the air. Yep, yep. Is that straight? I don't like it when it's crooked. That's one of my pet peeves. Everything's got to be straight and lined up. TJ's new life is here. TJ, hey. Styly Designs. Hello, hello. Gosh, you guys are early. Veteran Iron and Outdoors. Woohoo. Yeah. Time for the live stream. Yes, yes. And I'll be napping a nodule today. I'll save that light for later. Yeah, I got a Texas Road Rock. The last one I did Monday worked out really well. Yeah, see, this is the last one, and it's just a piece of road rock, but this one turned out really well. Yeah, and for those of you who like to nap Knife River Flint, I did some videos on Knife River Flint, but this naps better than Knife River Flint. Okay, so if you think Knife River Flint is quote unquote luxurious or awesome, this naps better. Yeah, as far as nappability. Now the looks, Knife River Flint looks a lot better. This one is translucent, yes, but not as translucent. And this one doesn't have that rich brownish root beer's color like Knife River Flint. Although we do have root beer chert in Texas that's similar in color, the coloration of Knife River Flint is a lot better. Anyway, hopefully this new nodule is going to be just as good as this one. Yeah, I like it when it's not a big challenge to nap. A small challenge is okay; it keeps it interesting. But if it gets to be really nasty, I don't enjoy it. Kiefer's is here, enjoying the nap videos you've been doing. Thank you, thank you. Jesse's here. Frodo Joe, Clint Stoner. Awesome. The best piece I've ever napped was a piece of Kentucky hornstone. I wish I had more. There's guys that are selling a lot of hornstone. I just saw some. You should check with Brad Moore for one. Who did I just see on Facebook? Are you trying to get it for free? Because that's difficult. But there's guys that have hornstone, big mounds of it. I just saw somebody on Facebook. That's where it was. If you go into Facebook, Lithic Resources or whatever it's called, you want an exact link, don't you? I'm looking on my phone. On Facebook is where you find the Flintknapping stuff, supplies. Let's see. Exchange, I guess. I'm trying to figure out the name of this group. Jesse says, "No, you can buy. I can buy. Good. I'll show you where you can buy a ton of hornstone." Alina is here. She's from Kazakhstan. Hello, hello. Okay, so I'm going to try to find while we're waiting because we still got 15 minutes. While we're waiting, I'm going to try to find the Flintknapping supply on Facebook that you can buy a ton of hornstone from. There's two guys on there that I've seen recently. Now, I don't want to buy a lot of hornstone right now, although that's one of my favorites. I keep those in mind. Okay, let's see. It should pop up in my searches, but it doesn't. Facebook. If it wasn't for Flintknapping, I wouldn't even have Facebook. The only reason why I have Facebook is so I can get in contact with people who do Flintknapping or sell rocks. Flintknapping resources. I've got to find the exact name of the guys, or else I'm not going to be able to find it, or it's going to take me forever. Let me see. It's in my email, but it's a long time ago that I was talking to this guy. So I can't find it by scrolling through my email. Let's see. It's probably why people don't realize that you can find everything on Facebook. It's because it's actually difficult to find it on Facebook, but it's there. Yeah, it's not that easy to find stuff on Facebook, but it is there. Let's see, anybody else? Matthias Melander, I've really been enjoying the tools you sent. I had not had that much time to nap, but I'm really liking it. Awesome, good. I'm glad they're working. I still got to send you some more. Yeah, Jesse says that's the only thing he keeps Facebook for also is the Flintknapping stuff. Okay, so it has two different ways to search, and I've been searching my friends. I want to do the entire Facebook. Okay, so let's see. Now, Flintknapping or Gulf Coast Flintknapping has been doing very well lately. He also has a lot of good stuff on his Facebook page, Justin Hawkins. He's got some prime stone. This looks like Texas stuff. But if you look for Gulf Coast Napping and Justin Hawkins, see, he's got Georgetown and he's got some other stuff. I think it's all Texas. But let me see if that's, yeah, it's Texas stuff. And he's got slabs. Let me see if I can find the guys that I saw cutting eggs today. All right, I think these are hornstone. Justin Hawkins cutting eggs today. I think this looks like hornstone, but I need to check because it might be something else. Let's see. Yeah, he doesn't say what it is, but that looks like hornstone. But there's two other guys, so this makes three guys that are doing a hornstone. He's selling Edwards shirt right there. Anyway, let me look for the other guys. We still got time. Yun Chang is here. How's it going? I'm glad you could make it. Let's see. Yeah, Alina says she finally got copper tools. Oh, yeah, Keith Callahan says he sees a few more ornaments on my tree. Yeah, I've got these little grackle or crows. They're supposed to be crows, but they look like grackles. And I've got little jack-o'-lanterns. My sister sent me Halloween decorations for my holiday tree. I'm going to call it my holiday tree because it's always up, but I can decorate it for different holidays. I've even got a skeleton, but I didn't know where to put it. So she sent me some little skeletons I can stick on there too, but I don't know. They're kind of heavy for the tree. Anyway, Yeah. I can't see. I see just that one, but there's more than that. There's one sneaking right there. See, you can see his beak, just barely. And if it's grainy for you, the video, if it's grainy, that's because I'm filming off of my computer's webcam, which is a cruddy camera. Yeah. All right, so portrait rock connection. Okay, it's called Rock Connection and Knapping Resources, I believe. Let me just scroll down and make sure that's the right one. It might not be the right one because I don't see. I just see a lot of people posting their knappings and not what they're selling. But this is a group that sometimes, Jeff Head is on here. You need to get a connection to this one, Rock Connection, Lithic, and Knapping Resources. You need to save that name, Rock Connection and Lithic and Knapping Resources. But it's a lot of guys posting their knappings also. It's a group. That one is a group. It's not an individual page. It's a group. It's got 47,000 members. And once in a while, you'll see someone post on there, and it pops up if you're in that group, and you got a follow button clicked or whatever. Yeah. This is what eats up a lot of my time when I'm not on video. You're wondering, what do you do when you're not on video, dude? If you're not doing anything, just do more videos. I'm doing stuff like this. Like, it's taking me forever to find something that should only take less than a minute. I need some hornstone. I should be able to just dee. There it is. No, I got to spend a ton of time looking for hornstone, as an example. And I've got emails where people say, "Can you tell me where to find blah blah blah?" Yep, I know where it is. I just don't know the exact place. Here we go. This guy, Caleb Kahors or Khowers, or I don't know. I'm mispronouncing his name. Caleb Hollis Khowers. He's standing on a big mound of nothing but hornstone. Flint Hill, Hornstone Heaven, boys. Okay. I've purchased from him before. He doesn't really package the stones well, so you got to remind him, you need to package the stone well, please. He might have improved his packaging. But yeah, last time I ordered some, he didn't pad it. It arrived okay. So let's see. If you just do a search for hornstone itself, you've got different entries. Okay. So just do a search for hornstone. It is coming up with productive results. Brad Moore looks like he has some. I don't know how old these posts are. Rock Connection has people that are selling the hornstone. And the reason why I'm making a big deal out of the hornstone is because it is one of my favorites, and I do recommend it. Okay? For beginners. And for everybody, but beginners. Rock Connection also has this picture. So if you click on these pictures, let's see what it does. Yeah, Rock Connection, Lithic, and Knapping Resources. This post is May 30th. So it's a little bit old. But the guy might still have it. Whoever was selling it. Okay, so John Tuttle was asking for whole nodules, and then Aaron large, and they're communicating by PM. Okay, Aaron Large was the one that's the author of that one. All right, so now you know. Do you know now? Look on Facebook. Yeah. Are we still on? Yeah. The clock is ticking. Alina says, now work interferes with my napping time. I'm not sure when I can properly test my hammer. Oh, dang. You got a new hammer and can't test it. So I bet you guys are looking on Facebook now because I don't see much going on in the chat. Yeah, Brad Moore's got a ton of it. How old is that post? May. But, you know, there's people that got tons. Literally tons. So Brad and Caleb are the two guys I was thinking of. And then whatever that third one is. Gulf Coast Knapping might have some, right? Is that the one? Because you said he was cutting some eggs. Those will look like hornstone. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the other site. Knapping Materials Buy Sell Trade. Okay, so I'm going to take screenshots for myself so I can remind myself to put this in like a post. All right, so Knapping Materials Buy Sell Trade is one of the groups. Let's see if I can click on it. Yeah, this one has 4.4 thousand members. Knapping Materials Buy Sell Trade. This one I think is better than the other one. The other one was I can't remember this stuff. Now I can't find it. Resources. Connection. Oh, Flintknapping Connection, right? That's what it was called. No, Rock Connection. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot of this one. Rock Connection and Knapping Resources. Okay, so screenshot. Those are the two groups you need to be a member of to get notifications from these guys. And also follow the pages of the guys that are selling. But they also not only have hornstone, but they got a bunch of other stuff. Let's see. Ed Gould is here. Alina says, Jesse, not all types of stones. I had the copper rods for indirect. I still use my iron hammer as a field hammer. Some Cortex is that bad. I don't ruin the copper on it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Ed Gould, always early? Well, I usually sit here anyway. It's either I have to sit here for 30 minutes or I'm late 30 minutes. Yeah. That's the way it goes. If I try to make it exactly on time, it never works. For me, it doesn't work. Unless I sit here. If I sit here and then just count the minutes and wait, then I can get on time. Exactly. I've done that before too, and I said I got to stop doing this. When I used to work for Dell Computer. I remember that one. I'd sit in the parking lot early because this is in Austin, Texas, and this is when the traffic was getting bad. I just drive, get stupidly early and just sit in the parking lot until like 5 minutes before and then go in. Same with when I worked for Advanced Micro Devices. Yeah, I would walk in at exactly 5 minutes before, but in order to do that, I had to be waiting in the parking lot for 30 to 45 minutes, just sitting there, because there's no way I could drive through traffic and make sure I'm there by 5 minutes before. Yeah, yeah, but it's not just traffic. Like when I do these or anything that requires me to be on time, like the auctions. I used to be on time with the auctions all the time, but I would have to sit there and then post it 5 minutes before or whatever. So if I don't do that, then it's late. So that's why the auctions have been late. Anyways, now you know. What time is it? Oh, it's already time to start the live stream. Dang it, the time got away from me doing the searching on Facebook. Okay. So what do we want to talk about? It's in the middle of the day, so we have internationals in the house. If anyone has questions, if you're new, there's 19 people, which is probably about the same as we have in the chat. If you're new though, let us know where you are if you're not shy, so that maybe some nappers are near you, or we might find a nap in for you to go to. Why? Because that's the best place to get information and rocks and everything. Exploration ROX. Hey, Pat, he says. Hello, hello. I don't recognize your handle, though. Jeremy's here. Michael Nelson is here. Budding Napper from the UK. Awesome. We have several people from the UK that tune in. Michael Nelson. Mike Tuff's pointing me in this direction. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Danny Moore is here. You're in the right place, Michael. Michael says, I've heard good things about you peeps in this stream. Ken says, I ordered a new Nikon Z30 camera. Should make some great napping videos. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I haven't messed with my camera yet. I just made sure it worked and I made sure it charged up. But I bought a Canon DSLR camera, and hopefully I'll be able to mess with the lighting and stuff and get a more professional looking live stream going. I probably won't be able to get the lighting right, because that's my biggest issue. For some reason, I don't do the lighting correctly. And I've sat here all day before trying to get different angles on the lighting and different intensities and a diffuser and all kinds of stuff, and I still can't get it. This is the best I can do with what I got. So I made doo-doo with what I got. It reminds me, I should change that sign on the front. I have different options. Harley or Smallzilla made me a bunch of different plaques to go on the front of this little light box. Yeah, how do I know? I don't know. It's the law of the West. Hey, these are backwards. Not supposed to be backwards. Why are they backwards? No, they're upside down. That one was upside down. How do I know? I don't know. It's the law of the West. Yeah. Snapping Halfish and Jack Crafty. Yeah, I could put Jack Crafty up there. If I knew why it happens, then I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes I do something wrong, and people are thinking, dang it, you did it. You're not doing it right. And sometimes you're just lazy. Well, yeah, sometimes. But most of the time, if I knew why it happens, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, I could do that too. Jack Crafty. Who's Jack Crafty? I don't know. Sometimes my name's not Jack, and sometimes I don't think I'm crafty. Let's see. Everyone's saying hi to everybody. So what are we talking about? If there's no questions, do I just make up stuff? I can make up stuff. You don't know. You do not know. I can make up all kinds of stuff, or I can start scrolling through my emails. That would take up the rest of the day. Yeah, I try to answer my emails. Sometimes I just answer them with emojis because that's all I have time for. Yeah, I got a ton of informed delivery. I do a lot of deliveries to my door because I'm out in the sticks. I'm out in the boondocks out here in Vermont. I live in a village. I mean, there's a bunch of houses around me, but nothing else. What's cool though is we have shops within the neighborhood. Like I can just go across just a little ways down the street and there's a pizza place and then there's a small deli right across the street from that. And then the other direction is downtown. Not too much further than what I had to go in that direction. It's 10 minutes walk to get into the center of town. And then there's shops everywhere in there, including a really good hardware store, which I'm surprised. Every time I go in there, I find something new. So I can find that stuff. What was I saying? I live out in the sticks. Yeah. So I have deliveries. Yeah. It's expensive here to buy stuff for the house. So I order that stuff. All right. So not much emails. What do we got for questions? Bushy says, Patrick, I'll be up on my woodlot this weekend. I'll cut a few 5 or 6 inch diameters. I'll split them. Do you want halves or quarters or smaller? Halves are good. Yeah. Halves are perfect. That way we can see the grain and all that. Yeah. Michael Nelson says, what's the worst material people have napped? I vote for rhyolite. Yeah. Ed Gould says, did you leave Facebook? Me? No, I just don't ever respond. Yeah. And I think, Ed, you try to contact me on Facebook, but it comes up on Messenger. No. Don't try to contact me on Facebook, Ed. It's best to do it in some other way. Although sometimes I'll see your messages. Email is email or text are the fastest way to get in touch with me, but not many people have my phone number, which is good. Email is going to be the best way to contact me. Like I said, if you message me on Facebook and sometimes even on Instagram Messenger, I hardly ever check that because if I'm checking everything, it takes me forever. Yeah. I guess I'm. Mm-hmm. So I'm checking something I haven't checked in a while, and let's see. Hold on a second. Now I did it. I accessed the chat. Is this Google Chat? Let me see. It just says chat. It's got to be, yeah, it's probably Google Chat. All right, so hold on a second. Let's see. He asked, it's just a general question. I probably should share it, right? He asks me, if someone claims I have a grave good, could I possibly sue them for that kind of stuff? For accusing me of having grave goods, probably in relation to artifacts that are found. And as far as I know, you can't unless you get fired from your job or something because of it, as an example. So you can get back pay or you can sue for damages. Or it affects your business or something. Because of the accusation. But it depends. Probably depends on your lawyer. Yeah. Right? Someone could chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I don't want to check what else I've missed on my communications. Let's see. Keith Callahan or Kiefer says, I saw Danny Collins had a bunch of new Mookite in a pile. That stuff is pretty. I like the way you spelled Mookite. Mewkite. Let's see. Mac Bale says, howdy, y'all. Tomlinson, M. Tomlinson is here. You just ordered something or you just won something off of the auction, didn't you? Bushy says, okay, I'll get some maple, cherry, ash, or whatever else I can find after 2 hours of bow hunting. Yeah, I'm looking mainly for locust. Yeah, but we'll try the maple, cherry, and ash and stuff. But hickory and locust are the two best woods here in this area in the Northeast, as far as I know. Hickory and locust. Bushy says, I bought a chunk of rhyolite at Letchworth. It sucked. Yeah. Rhyolite is terrible, but it's been napped and there's lots of artifacts made from it. The other one is quartzite. Some quartzite's really nice though, and some rhyolite is not that bad. So if you see something really nice looking made from quartzite or rhyolite, it's not the bad type. It's the good type of quartzite or rhyolite. But you got to go through tons of it to find the good stuff. Bushy says, I'll talk to my neighbor about the locust. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm looking for mainly locust and hickory. Yeah. I've got maple and cherry and elm both in my backyard, and I can access it here on the side of the road. I can just, a lot of times they'll cut down saplings and just leave them there to get picked up later, or they just mulch it. So I can just stop and then pick up these lengths of whatever they have there. It's mostly going to be maples and oaks, but I could try using that too. But yeah, I'm looking mainly for locust and hickory. And what's cool about hickory is if I don't use it for the bow, and I've got a bunch of scraps and chips, I can use it for cooking. Yeah. Same with maple. Yeah. Smoking the meats. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, what other notifications do I have? What else was I gonna talk about? I remembered I was gonna talk about something probably bow related. Yeah. I'm working on bowstring material. I bought some rawhide. I think will work. I still need to make a bowstring out of the groundhog skin that I've got in the freezer. Hopefully hasn't been in there too long, because I think it starts to degrade if you keep it in the freezer too long. What else have I been doing? Yeah, the hardest projects are coming up, and they're bow and arrow sets. I'm not going to put them on video because I'll mess them up. I will put some bow and arrow stuff on video when I'm not afraid to mess them up. Stuff that I'm making for myself, in other words. Why does it mess them up when you put it on video? It doesn't make any sense. Something will mess it up. Yeah. I've lost things that I was going to put on video because I stick them in a safe place. I think it's in a safe place. I'm going to make a video with these things. I put them in a safe place, and when it comes time that I have time to make a video with those things, I don't know where I put them. As an example, And then, I'm in a bad mood and I finally find them at the end of the day. I can't film. So the next day I'm all ticked off. And I've had that happen before where I don't even feel like doing the video, or, I'm looking through the materials and so I need to finish this up. And then I try to finish something up and break it because I'm not in a good mood. Spent all the other previous day looking for something that I thought it was in a safe place. As an example, there's all kinds of stuff that messes me up when I try to do a video on something. Yeah. Now you know. Now you know the miseries of doing videos. And they don't pay much either. Yeah, I get $3 if I get 1,000 views. But it adds up if you have lots of videos. Yeah. If you do a search, I don't know if it's on, yeah. If you do a search on YouTube under a hashtag of Flintknapping, it'll tell you how many videos have that hashtag. And it'll tell you how many channels also. So there's like 3,700 videos on Flintknapping with that tag, and 300 and some odd channels with that tag. So if that's true, I've got over 2,200 videos. That's more than half of all the other ones, right? If it's 3,700 videos, I got 2,200 of those. I got more than all the rest combined. I mean, yeah. It helps to have lots of Flintknapping videos because you're going to make it, if there's, 10,000 views gives me $30. 100,000 views gives me $300. I don't have very many that go over 100,000 views. I can count those on one hand, I think. And that just trickles in over time. Pennies. Anyway, that's if you're interested in knowing that kind of stuff. Tomlinson, or I think that's Michael, right? I think your first name's Michael. I have had high tanning brains in my freezer for over 20 years. It's hard to come by after the mad cow disease. Oh, dang. I think they sell pig brains in the can. So you don't have to use cow brains. You can just buy canned pig brain. In case you didn't know, some people go, dang it, shouldn't have told me that because now it's so easy. And I've been torturing myself for years. And now it's so easy just to go buy it. You got to be kidding me. Yeah. Okay. Michael says he has bison brains. Yeah. I had a jar of bear fat for like 10 years. I never used it. A friend of mine sent me a jar of bear fat because he goes hunting for bears and he renders the fat down. He's got bunches of jars, those mason jars. And he sent me one and I kept it in the refrigerator for 10 years. And I think I used it maybe twice to smear the fat on a bow. Yeah, it works good. But I like duck fat better. And I can just buy duck fat at the grocery store. Yeah, I don't have to be sitting waiting for someone to be generous enough to give me some bear fat or whatever. I just go buy duck fat at the store. TJ's New Life says pig brains are gross. They'll throw up emoji. What's up? Do they smell bad or what? I never dealt with pig brains. But you can make sausage out of it. That's why they sell it. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I've processed hides into rawhide. I use rawhide a lot, or I used to. I'm going to start using more now. And I never got into tanning the hides. Although there's videos on it all over the place. There's lots of videos on tanning hides with both brains and with tannins from different plants, usually bark. And, how to do it by hand, the old way. Michael says, all I can see is pork brains with milk gravy in the cans. That'll work, I think. Let's see. Although dairy, yeah, maybe not. If it's dairy, I don't know. Let's see. Now you're going to get me looking for this now too. Because I saw it on the video. The guy was using canned pig brains, pork brains. On eBay, there's pork brains with milk gravy. But you look at this one here. It's in Spanish. It says let's see, sesos de cerdo. Sesos. Yeah, that's the pig brains. And I don't think it has anything else in it. Come on. Yeah, you can order these. It's just pure pig brains or pork brains. I just did a Google search. Yeah, don't buy the roes. Because that's the only other option, right? The roes, pork brains. But that's in the milk sauce. You want to get these right here. Let's see if that's in the United States. Where does it come from? Where is it about us? Contact? Learn? Where is your location? Come on. Where is the contact us? Address. I don't know. They don't want to say? Usually when they don't want to say, they're either from California or New York. Okay, area code 240. What's it? If it has an area code of 240, what state is that? I kind of recognize it. Maybe it's Ohio. Or Illinois. Something like that. Something like that. Maybe it is Illinois. Yeah. Click here to learn how to incorporate pork brain into a meal. Okay, let me click it. Let's see. Why does it show a dog automatically? DIY raw meal for dogs, spooky Halloween bowl recipe. Okay, so it is a dog meal. Raw meal for dogs. Halloween's already getting into Halloween spooky meals. So that's what they sell this stuff for? But yeah, you can do hide tanning if it's just pure pork brains. Oh, I see what they're doing. Anyways, what else? What other questions do we have? Off the wall questions. We got plenty of time before I start napping. If you're brand new, the first hour is nothing but chat. So come back at the top of the next hour and you'll see the napping. Okay, I forgot to mention that in the beginning. We only got 24, so it's mostly the guys in the chat. But if you're new, come back at the top of the hour. Let's see. TJ says, I'm going to vomit watching this. That's funny. Why is it? Aren't we all supposed to be primitive and not get squeamish over, animal products? Bushy says, grilled cheese and pig brains for lunch. There you go. Yeah. Let's see. Dead Hold Leather is here. Hello, fellow cavemen. Hello. Yeah, we're supposed to all be primitive and not get squeamish over this stuff. Ed Gould says, Jake, could you use some of the pop gear for the boat? Okay. Mikael HC, hello, Flint Brains. Yeah, we got rocks in our heads. Definitely. Let's see. Deadhold Leather. On your previous videos of Flint River bifaces you just loaded up, do you even consider using your flat-faced aluminum billet in the Levallois technique, or is the thinness of the piece dictating it? Well, I do contemplate sometimes using the aluminum billet, but I gave it away. Actually, I gave it to Matthias. It doesn't depend on the thinness of the piece that much, because you can do a Levallois flake off of thin stuff as well as thick stuff. Yeah. It's harder, of course, on the thin stuff because you don't have much range of motion. But you can remove a big flake from a thin biface, and it's the same technique. It's the same Levallois technique. Okay? It's just with a thinner material, and the flake is not as thick and useful as if you were to use a big core. So this can be considered a core if you're trying to remove flakes and that's it. It's not going to be a biface or a preform for a knife or something. You can have a biface as a core and remove large flakes, and that's what you're using it for. Okay, that's the Levallois technique. If you were removing a bunch of perimeter flakes first and then a big flake in the middle. Okay, you can do it with various thicknesses. Now, using the aluminum, it's just one tool that can be used. I can remove Levallois flakes with indirect percussion and direct percussion. And there's various direct percussion tools. You can use a rounded billet deer antler. You can use a flat-faced billet deer antler or moose or whatever. You can use a flat-faced metal or a rounded-faced metal billets. You can use swinging billets or what I call arcing billets, where you or a roundish type of billet. There's many different ways to achieve the same result, and there's many different results from one tool. And it all overlaps with each other. So I can't tell you like for sure, only do the Levallois flakes from something that's exactly 0.57 inches thick with a weight that's exactly 6.97 ounces at exactly the angle of 46.2 with a force of, I don't know, 6 joules. I mean, I can't get that precise with you ever. I'm not making fun. I'm just letting you know that, there is no good answer. Yeah. Unfortunately, I wish there was. Lee Steinmeier's here. Hello, y'all. I remember to get in here once in a while. Yes. Good. Let's see here. My eyes are starting to hurt, so I'm going to put my glasses on so I can be one of those Matrix agents. Let's see. Deadhold Leather. I might have misunderstood the Levallois technique. The flat-faced billet isn't the technique, but the manner you take the flakes. Thank you for clarifying it. Okay, good. Awesome. I'll rewatch your Levallois videos and pay closer attention. It's the manner of how you take the flakes. Yes, that's the way. That's it. It's the manner of how you do it. And the way they used to do it, in most cases, they took a lot of flakes around the perimeter to shape the core into a dome on one side, and then they take off that flake, and it would pretty much remove the dome, almost like removing a turtleback, but it's flatter. It's like a smoother, less turtlebackish turtleback that you're taking off. It's less turtlebackish than a regular turtleback. Yeah. Jeremy says I saw a video where they used egg. Yeah, you can use egg for tanning. I've never tried it, but I've seen them use it also. But I think they also used like dishwashing liquid mixed in with it too. Let's see here. Mac Bale says, what size hickory or locust staves can you use? The general rule is, for me, 4 inches, 4 feet long, up to 6 inches diameter, 6 feet long. 4-inch diameter, 4 feet long, 6-inch diameter, 6 feet long. That's my range of where I make bows. Now, some guys say, I don't use nothing that's under 8 feet or under 8-inch diameter. Okay, that's you, which is perfectly fine. They give themselves plenty of room in that case. But me, I'll go between 4-inch, 4 feet long, 6-inch, 6 feet long. And I'm talking diameter. With the bark on. Yeah. Or off. Yeah. But I can go as skinny as 4-inch diameter with the bark on. Yeah. Sometimes the bark is really thick. Some guy says, okay, how thick is the bark? Should it be like exactly 5/16, or should it be like a 1/4 inch, or can it be up to like 7/8 inches? Because I got that stuff too. No, just don't worry about it. You worry too much. 4-inch diameter, 4 feet long, up to 6-inch diameter, 6 feet long is what I normally use. Why is that? Because it's easy to carry and easy to transport, and also easy to dry out. Drying process is a consideration. Yes. And a lot of times a smaller diameter log will also have lots of sapwood. I like working with sapwood rather than heartwood, with the exception being Osage orange or Bodark. Okay. That one I only use the heartwood. But mostly everything else I use the sapwood. And the younger trees have more sapwood thickness. Although you'll say, no, I've seen them big trees with big sapwood. Okay, there's always someone that's going to tell me that I'm wrong. But in my experience, the smaller trees have sapwood that's easier to access. Let's see. Deadhold Leather says, what are your thoughts on mechanical jig setups for removing flutes on pieces opposed to percussion? Mechanical jig setups are awesome. There is a learning curve on using them. But professional nappers, 9 times out of 10, are going to use a jig to produce their flutes. Why? It saves money. Lots of money. If you do it with percussion, you're going to get shorter flutes and more failures on average. Now, if you want to do it for attention on YouTube, you can use percussion and not the jigs. I think the jigs don't gather as much attention on YouTube as the freehand stuff or the billet work, the hard way. The hard way to do it gets more attention, I think, on YouTube. It depends on what you want to use it for. If you want to generate consistent fluted Clovis, Folsom, Cumberland, use a jig and learn how to use it well. And don't buy the cheap jigs, and make sure that you talk to at least one other person who's experienced in doing the jig stuff. I've seen guys go on their own and do it and fail and say, jigs, they suck, man. I can't stand it. I've been sitting here all day with this stupid jig. No, get some consultation and figure out how to work with it with guidance. But yeah, jigs are awesome. Let's see. Is Jake still here? Michael says English longbows need about 50-50 sapwood and heartwood. Yeah, if you're using yew wood, you got to specify that English longbows made of yew. Now, if they're made of something else, you don't need half and half. Yeah. And the English style longbow that I have, or the Neolithic, or even after Neolithic, the longbow that I have is made of juniper all sapwood, because the heartwood on juniper is terrible. Okay, just so you know. And Michael says, yes, you, sorry. Yep. So it makes a difference on the wood. Some people will latch on to your first. I'm not making fun of you. I'm drawing from my own experience, because I'll say something and I'll miss something when I'm saying it. And that's that first sentence is what sticks in people's minds a lot of times. And you can't get it out once it's stuck in there. So if you say that you have to use 50-50 sapwood and heartwood, and that's it, and then go silent, that sticks in their head and you can never get it out. So I've had people ask me over and over and over again, you sure about this? You're sure? Yes, I just left that part out. So now I'm sorry, I apologize that you're stuck with the wrong thing in your head. Yeah, it's my fault because I didn't put in that one detail. And that happens a lot, and in Flintknapping too. Deadhold leather. Hey, don't worry. Ask as many questions as you want. He says, last question, as if he's bugging me. You're not bugging me with the question, if that's what you meant. All right. Anyway, last question. When do you think the first copper bopper style of tool was used? And is there any historical record that points to a starting point, or is this a modern adaptation for our convenience? All right. First part of the question. The first copper boppers, I think, were used in the 60s or 70s, 1960s and 70s. Although there's been professional nappers since at least the 20s and 30s, right? I don't know if they use boppers. A lot of them were using antlers at first and hammerstones. Copper came in pretty fast, though. I know for a fact that in the 60s and 70s, I've heard of bopper use, right? At least the 70s, maybe not 60s, somewhere in that area. Okay, but there is historical also evidence for Native Americans using copper like a hammerstone. Okay, because there is like wear on some of the nodules, because you could find in the Great Lakes area copper on the surface. It's called float copper, FLOAT, or field copper on the surface. For thousands of years, you could find it in the Great Lakes region on one island in particular. And I think they would dive for it too in the waters, and then they would mine it. The Native Americans actually mined copper in the Great Lakes area, among other areas. Copper was also found in natural form and in pure state in Central and South America. So Native Americans have known about copper for literally thousands and thousands of years. Now, what did they do with it? Most of the time, I think they were making jewelry with it. But they also made everything else. But someone's going to say, well, you didn't answer the question about copper and Flintknapping specifically, and how much, and what tools, and under what circumstances, and where exactly geographically. Well, there's evidence of pressure flakers. We still have them in museums that came from the Great Lakes areas. So we know that Native Americans used copper pressure flakers in the Great Lakes at a minimum. Also in the Great Lakes area, we find copper tools of all sorts. And they're still in museums. So there's definite proof of copper being used for Flintknapping for at least 3,000 years. It goes back further than that, but for at least 3,000 years for sure. Hard evidence. Native Americans in the Great Lakes area were using copper for flint knapping. Before that, it's hard to tell because everything degrades over time, and then they start guessing and yada, yada, yada. Geographic areas and exactly what tools and how much copper and all that kind of stuff, you have to look at specific studies. I've looked at dozens of different studies, and they all have little bits of information that I can't remember exactly. Let's see. Hey, Fox3 from the UK. Marco, how's it going? Hey, how's it going, everybody? Is it just you or is everybody else? Marco says, hey, Patrick, your arrowheads were used during my daughter's class when they were learning about the Stone Age. The kids loved it. Cool. I like to hear stuff like that. That's awesome. Fox3 from the UK is, let's see, brother-in-law, right? Stepsister's husband. Cool. Let's see. That whole letter says, okay, thank you, sir. I get excited when you're live, and I try to recall all my questions during watching your videos. I watch your videos so much, my wife falls asleep to your voice as I stay up. That seems to be a common thing. Although not all wives enjoy the videos. I remember somebody said that his wife called me Jack Crappy. Dead Hold Leather says, we absolutely enjoy your sense of humor and your narrative abilities to make napping fun and entertaining. Awesome. Good. Cool. Good to hear. Yeah. And if you have any questions, further questions that you remember, don't hesitate to ask. If I know them, I'll try to answer them in a coherent way. Ed Gould says, like Bob Ross. Yeah, I wish. People don't tune in because of my voice. I mean, I could probably practice it. Make some Bob Ross kind of videos, but with napping. I don't think I sound like Bob Ross when I'm doing the videos, even when I'm doing my tutorials and stuff. I mean, I just watched the only ones that I can tolerate from myself, this is going to sound funny, is the no talk videos. I can watch those all day long. My own no talk videos, yeah. But as soon as I start talking, okay, switch. I don't like myself. Or if I can't watch my channel news or these live streams because I'm seeing myself. I don't watch those either. I said, no, switch. Where's the no talk? I don't want to see his face either. Yeah, that's the way it is. I don't know. I don't like watching videos where I'm in there myself. I'm gonna have to start doing more editing though. I can't get around it. I gotta watch myself eventually and try to improve the lighting and stuff. Yeah. Who's sending me messages? Oh no, that's something else. I made the mistake in clicking. What did I click this morning that I clicked that Grok can send me messages now. I made a big mistake. Yeah. Not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to click allow. Someone's got to have to remind me every time. I got to make a little figurine or something that says, do not allow, and have it on my desk. Why do I hate notifications? Because I think it's something important and it makes me jump. I say, who's sending me stuff? Is it an accident? Do I need to call 911? What is it? Yeah, it's not that bad, but you know what I mean. It gets on my nerves if there's too many notifications. If it makes a noise or whatever. It's okay if I get lots of emails and stuff, but not if it's going to notify me with a noise or something like that. Let me see. Ed Gould says, you got a tree. Yeah, I got a tree, and I've got ornaments now, Halloween ornaments. I got it's supposed to be a crow, but it looks like a grackle. And I got little jack-o'-lanterns. It's a string of the jack-o'-lanterns, and I got like 5 crows or little grackles on there. Can't see them, though. You can see them if I move where Yeah. See, there's jack-o'-lanterns on a string. Where is it? There's one right there. There, and there's a little crow there and a crow right there. There's one back here. Oh, no, right there. Anyway, you can't see it because the screen is, or the video is grainy because it's on my computer. Let's see. John Almager says, let's see Patrick with a beard. I can't grow a full beard. I can only grow like a little shaggy beard. I can grow a mustache. You know, like Scooby and Shaggy. You know how Shaggy has that little beard right there? That's all I can grow. This whole patch in front here is void of hair. And I don't have any hair growing right there either. So I can grow long sideburns, little shaggy beard here, and a mustache. And maybe a little bit right there. And that's it. Although my dad had a full beard, I don't know where I get mine from. My lack of hair from. My mom's side, obviously. Dead Hold Leather says, Ed Gould, if you could find the name of the video, I will watch it ASAP. Which video is it? What are you looking for? Jeremy says, I know where a Osage tree is that at the bottom limbs are tied across the ground. You'd think it's done for making bows. Maybe a native tricked it. A huge old tree. Let's see. Well, they used to coppice the Osage, and that what they do, it's called pleaching, where you cut into the trunk of the tree. It's only like maybe 3 inches in diameter. You cut into it and then bend it over. And then all the growth comes up straight from that. That's called pleaching. And there's a skill to it. You can't just cut just any old way into the tree and then bend it over. It's got to be able to survive the cut. And when it does survive, all the new branches are growing straight up, just like fence posts. And it helps to fill in that area, and you can make a natural or a living fence. And it's called pleaching when you're doing hedgerows. And they used to do that with Osage orange here in the United States. It's a thing that they brought over from Europe, a technique they brought over from Europe. All right, let's see. I'm missing some of the chat here. Magnus Horace says, I hope you're doing well, good sir. I need to get back into napping again. Your vids are helping so much. Good. I'm glad. Tommy Taylor says, I looked up online on how to acquire a Bob Ross painting. They are near non-available. Most of his work is in a Bob Ross studio, so the great Google says. Interesting. Hey, Sal is in the house. Hey. Mikael says, what is the best and hardest antler for pressure flaking? And should it be heated or something? No, do never heat the antler. The best and hardest antler is white-tailed deer. The heaviest and densest is axis deer. AXIS. And whitetail is self-explanatory. But axis deer is the heaviest and densest. It can also be used for pressure flakers. You can cut it up or whatever. And white-tailed deer. Some people are going to say, no, it's moose. And I'm going to let loose the moose on you because you didn't say moose. You deserve to be trampled to death. I don't like moose. It's brittle. It breaks. It's heavy and dense. It's good for boppers, I think. Although I don't like using them for boppers either. But for pressure flakers and anything else, no. It's white-tailed deer and axis deer. Okay? All right. And never heat it. Heat weakens antler. Now, you can dry it in a dehydrator, and the dehydrator technically heats it up to about 100 degrees, something like that. So that, if you want to call that heating it, that's fine. But don't go up to a fire and say, "Oh, I'm gonna roast this like I'm roasting marshmallows right beside my marshmallow," and they both get brown at the same time, and it's gonna be good. No, do not heat antler like that. It makes it brittle. Okay. Um, Jesse says, I just removed a nice flute flake with indirect percussion. It worked good. I posted a pic on Patrick's community page. I'm going to make an indirect stick with a native copper bit inserted into it, too. Awesome. Jesse says, Mike, Axis deer by far is the hardest and most solid. Yes, it is. See? I told you. Yeah. See? Whitetail also. See? Ed knows. Yes, yes. Heavy and dense sounds like my ex. That's a good one. Let's see. Yeah. My ex is not like that, but it's so funny. How would I describe? I don't want to describe. But she's not heavy and dense. She knows exactly what she's doing. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, are we going to start napping yet? Yeah, 6. I got 8 minutes. I'll be napping in 8 minutes, but I won't be shutting up. I'll be yap napping. I'm reserving my yap napping and goofing around for these live streams. Yeah, because I'm going to be doing mainly no talk videos and instructional videos. Otherwise. All right. So, okay, no messages. Yeah, I caught up with my messages on my email, right? And hopefully no one sent any messages on Messenger. I'm not going to look at Facebook probably ever. So if you don't message me on Facebook, if you get that idea, say nope, nope, nope. Sal says, I knew a girl that gave a bathtub stretch marks. I wouldn't go near that with a 10-foot pole. Michael says, I have to go back to work. Have a good one, all. Alrighty. Have a good one. Don't take too much time off of work. Don't get caught. Yeah. This is work hours for lots of people. Yep, yep. Although in Europe, it's late. And across the pond, as they say. Alina was here, but she had to take a break. She's halfway across the globe. Let's see. Ed Gould says, I saw a big gal on 2 wheels the other day. Couldn't see the bike. Michael Nelson says it's 1953 for me, 7:53. 5 hours ahead of us. Okay. Yeah, sounds like you're in the UK. Yes, yes. My brother-in-law's in the UK. I got bunches of brother-in-laws now. Let's see. Why did I say now? I've always had a bunch of brothers-in-laws. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, I'm all caught up on I'm messing with the phone messages before I start napping. Yeah. Okay, so I won't get interrupted. Matthias says it's 20:54. Okay, so almost 9:00. Our, the way we tell time. See, they're using military style time in Europe. What we call military time is their normal time. That's the way they normally tell time. Yeah. 20:54 for us is 8:54 p.m. So Matthias is in Denmark. Yeah. So let me get ready. I'm going to start bringing my tools out. And when you're napping, you should always have a reference book. Wait, what's that book? What? Reference book. Wait, show the cover, man. Show it. I'm not gonna show it to you big. Okay, I'm begging you, show the title of the book. We only have 24 people, so we probably don't have very many new people. But just in case, it's the Overstreet Identification and Price Guide to Indian Arrowheads. This is the 13th edition. I think it's up to the 15th or 16th edition. But they're still good at the lower editions. Like you can get a 12th edition for cheap, as an example. But you can get the new ones too. Don't pay over $40, including taxes or whatever. They should be around $35 for one of these books. If it's expensive, you're being scammed. So you look at, I think Amazon has these at a reasonable price now. They used to not. And then Barnes and Noble usually always had them at a reasonable price as well. Okay, always have a reference book, and this is good because these are actual size. All right, and now if you're the kind that doesn't like to know the truth, you're not going to like the book. Okay, because you're going to go, wait a second, that's the actual size? I thought everything was like 7 inches and longer. These are not even 3 inches. I hate the truth. Yeah. If you don't like the truth, then don't buy it. Because you think that everything's over 7 inches long in the archaeological record. Yeah. Well, that's what I see everyone doing. That's the only videos I'm interested in are the long stuff. Because that's the way it was, right? No. It was like this. See how my hands are small to begin with, and these are actual size. Yeah, these are at little dart points. These are bifurcates. LaCroix, yeah. If you know someone doing gigantic LaCroix points, that's not what they look like in the archaeological record. Not even these up here, whatever these are that long. They're less than 4 inches or less than 3. Late archaic barbed, that's what these are. So just be warned, if you're very sensitive to the truth, don't get one of these. No, it's not advisable. I don't advise it because you'll have nightmares. Yeah. I'm serious. I am serious. You're in for big shock. All right. Is it time yet? Almost. Let's get ready. Let's get ready for napping. All right. Do I want to nap? Well, not really. But I will do it. I try not to nap during the week. I'll nap on the weekends just before the auction. That's the way I usually do it because I don't want to be napping every single day. I get burnt out. And I don't want to risk my health. It's not healthy to be sniffing the dust every day. Yeah. And you sniff it not only even if you wear masks, you still get exposed to the dust when you move stuff around or you vacuum or sweep your shop. You still get exposed to the rock dust. Can't escape it. So I try to limit my napping to 2 or 3 days a week. But these weeks lately, I've been napping every single day. I'm going to put some of that on video too. Let's see. What material is this? I'm going to be napping the Road Rock. It's the Edwards Church. Same as the last live stream. Last live stream, I did this one. It's Edwards Plateau Chert, Road Rock, I called it because I picked these up on the side of the road. I have many nodules of this range of size. It looks bigger when I do that, but they're not that big. I've got a bunch smaller than this and a couple that are bigger than this. Maybe more than a couple, but yeah. Small, I'm going to do a rock to point or a rock to biface. And hopefully it'll work out with no concrete in the middle. Sal says, be careful with the dust these days. It's not like it was in the 80s and 90s. What? I thought rocks are rocks. Let's see. Smash. Amazing. Oh. I don't know. What are you guys talking about? Something over 900? Tommy Taylor, what is this over 700 or over 900 stuff you're talking about? Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm missing something in the chat. Mike Tufts is here. Hello, hello. You made it for the napping part. Okay. So I just moved my camera angle a little bit and we can start napping. I'm going to be using my new solid copper headed boppers. Yep. These are solid copper. They're not lead filled. They are front heavy though. Yeah. And I got a new set. I don't hardly ever use this except for obsidian, the little bitty one. 2.7 ounce. And the next higher up, 3.8 ounce. The next higher up, 5.3 ounces, 8.3 ounces, and 13.5 ounces. I bought a set. 70 some odd dollars. Yeah. And they're working well. And I'm using mainly the 8.3 on something like this. Something like this. Where is my tape measure? Just so you know. 5 inches maximum length. But, you know, it's like 3 inches the other way. Okay, so throughout your napping experience, you're going to be using a lot of rocks of this size, I think. You don't need anything bigger than this, really. But a lot of guys say, no, I can't stand it. Those make me hurl. Anything like this makes me hurl. It's nasty. It's gross. Okay, fine. It has to be like a foot or more long. Yeah. Sorry, can't do it. Even if I had a foot long nodules, I wouldn't do it. Just because. All right. So that, don't ask me how I know where to hit because I don't know. Seriously, I don't know. I just say, that looks like a good spot. Yeah. Let's see what it looks like inside. It looks promising, actually. It promises to give me misery. No, it looks actually it looks good. Yeah. See, but these look like they were broken up somehow by nature. Right? Back in the day, something broke these up. The smaller nodules are usually better than the bigger ones because the smaller ones are already broken up and they don't have any further cracks. Okay, that's why I think they're better. All right, so I'm going to try to maximize this and make one biface and a bunch of other flakes. And the other flakes, I don't want them to be crud flakes. I want them to be good flakes. So I'm trying to take off flakes like that. Flakes like this. Pretty rocks do flakes like this. The pretty rocks do flakes like this. Pretty rocks do flakes like this. Yeah. See that? That's a nice rock, although it's got some ripples and it indicates a little bit of, I don't know, weird areas in there. You can't really see it. If I had a better lighting situation, you could see. But anyway, there's some inconsistencies in it, but it doesn't look bad. All right. So that's a good little spall. Okay. All right. Okay, what are we gonna do? It's something that looks good. Yeah. Why does that look good? I have no idea. Just after thousands and thousands of hits, I kind of know what's going to work and what doesn't work. Supposedly. Let's use the bigger bopper. This one, yeah, this one probably. I need to remove a big flake here. Yeah, like that. Except I had already put incipients in there, so it crushed. All right, I think that's why it crushed. When I hit it with the smaller bopper, it already cracked it, so it ruined it, basically. Yeah. Anyway, I need to hit somewhere else. I don't know where. Yeah, this bopper works well. So another nice little spall. See, I want these so I can make arrowheads instead of ending up with a bunch of little crud flakes and one biface. I want a biface, but I want a bunch of usable little spalls also. And how do I find them and how do I nap those spalls? I just have to look for spots that look good. If it doesn't look good, I don't take a flake. If it looks pretty good, I'll take a flake. That's all I can tell you. Yeah. But you only know that after thousands and thousands of hits. There's no formula to it because everything is so different with each stone. It depends on the stone you're working with. I tried to get a nice flake on that one. It didn't work. Let's see. So, the maximum length is it's in this direction here. So I'm going to try to preserve that length. But I could take off flakes from the other directions. It should work. Yeah, try to follow ridges, but you don't have to. Believe it or not, I just saw a video where one of the rules was you take a flake where there's a ridge or a high spot or a convexity. Yeah, but that's half the story. It's not the full story. Half truths are almost more dangerous than outright lies. Yeah, the flakes do follow ridges and whatever, but you can take a flake where there's no ridge, and you can take a flake where there's no convexity. So you're only telling half the story. Now, are they going to be good flakes? It depends on how thick the material is. Sometimes, yes, they will be good flakes, even if they don't follow a ridge. This one did follow a ridge for the most part, but you don't have to. Anyways, I like it. Hey, Mikey, he likes it. All right, so what else? That's going to get crackly in the middle. Yeah. I'm just trying to shape it now. I don't know. There's not too many opportunities for big flakes anymore. There might be a couple. But every time I hit on this edge, it breaks up in weird ways. It's probably because the angle's too steep. But luckily, the copper does kind of grip into it. So it can be almost completely vertical. And still, the copper still grabs into it and, produces a reasonable flake. Yeah, this one, I got to watch it with this one. This bopper, it's too powerful. Yeah. Come on. Did it ruin it? I almost crunched that. See, this is the longest part here. I almost crunched the tip into an unusability. That's a no-no. I can't be doing that. I took way too much off of here, so I'm going to have to lose a little bit of length, unfortunately. So the stage for removing these little spalls is over, I think. There may be one or two spots, maybe. Let's see if I can take off another spall type flake. Yes, no, actually I can't. I need to keep that thickness for later. Gosh, I don't know. It's very blocky. All right, I'm switching back to the smaller bopper because that larger one is ripping into this way too much. Yeah, that's better. See, I can hit hard, but it's not going to rip a big old chunk off. We're almost to the stage where I can use indirect percussion. Okay. The tip is way too thick. Yeah, that's good. So I don't know. So that's the easy part to get this bifaced. Now comes the next stage, which is a thinning stage, and I'll be using indirect percussion. How thick is it? Well, the thickest, I think the general rule would be an inch thick to start using indirect percussion. How thick is this? No, it's 3/4 of an inch. This is a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch thick. So that's probably the heftiest that I tend to start it as far as start using the indirect percussion. But I might thin this down a little bit more with the bopper. Yeah. Hold on. Still, I still see there's an opportunity to use the bopper on this. Yeah. It's still really thick. Let's see. Okay. My accuracy today is not that good. And yeah, it can vary from day to day. With me, I can be really good one day and then really bad the next day. It has to do with sleep and the circadian rhythm, I guess. Sometimes the brain just doesn't want to be active. So it feels like it can think, but you're actually not thinking at your full capacity. It may not be you that's messing up. It just may be you're off rhythm and you're not at your peak mental capacity. Right? Yeah, that's what you tell yourself, dude. Just keep telling yourself that. Sure. Mm-hmm. It's an excuse. All right. Could be. Could be just an excuse. All right, so the total length now, it was 5, but now it's 4. And that's pretty typical with me anyway, because I like to strike off flakes from the base and the tip to get it thinner, but also because there was some junk up here near the tip to begin with, and it scooped out a big spot, which messed things up a little bit as far as the length goes. How does it mess it up? It just, when it scoops out too much near the tip is not straight anymore. It's got a curve in it. When you try to thin it down and leave the length, if you scoop out too much, the tip is curved, or it has a big scoop out on one side. So you got to take that out. Okay, now indirect percussion. And it's probably 1/2 inch, somewhere between 1/2 inch and 3/4. I still leave it thick in the middle, but I can start thinning it with indirect percussion. How does it compare to yesterday's? It's very similar. Although yesterday's rock was bigger, I think. I don't remember. But you can also tell there's a little bit of difference in the material, where this one today has more inclusions in it. And it's less consistent. And it's also got these areas where it ripples in weird ways. So this one is not as good. So Knife River Flint might be actually better than this particular piece. But it's from the same formation. These two pieces came from the same formation, the same area of Texas, within 10 feet probably, or maybe less than 100 feet from each other. And there are different consistencies. Okay? They may look the same in translucency and general color, but they nap differently. But they're right from the same formation. They've actually might even have been from the same bigger nodule that broke up. And they nap differently. So that's why when someone asks me, how does that stuff nap? If I make a mistake and say, oh, it naps like blah, 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 they'll think that all this stuff naps the same way. And if it doesn't, they think it's them messing up. Why do I mess up? It doesn't do it. It's not doing it. It must be me. No, it doesn't always have to be you, although it probably is. But no, it doesn't have to be you. It could be the difference in the stone. You only know that after years and years of practice. Oh, I was going to get closer to the camera, but no, I don't. If I get too close, these flakes will fly and hit my phone and a computer and all that. All right, so here we go. So the preliminary flaking or preliminary thinning is the next level up in difficulty. It gets more and more difficult as you progress. Now, some people will say, no, the first stage is the most difficult for me. It's always been that way. I've never had trouble with notching or thinning or sharpening. Okay. I'm not saying that's not it. I'm saying that this, for me, remember, it's for me because I'm telling you how I'm doing it, because I can't tell you how everyone else does it. For me, this is the way it goes. It gets harder and harder as I progress. These first stages are easy. Yeah. And the last stage, the notching, the sharpening, finishing, that's the hardest. Both in terms of the experience you need and the frustration, the pain, the misery, the anxiety. It all builds. It builds and builds throughout the process. For me, some people, it's the opposite. It's the hardest in the very beginning, and it gets easier as you go. Okay, fine. I didn't say that it wasn't. I just told you it's the way it goes for me. Okay. Well, let me see here. So I'm just picking at it to get rid of all the lumps around the edges. It is important to make sure that the surfaces are smooth as you can get them, especially if you're going to make a persnickety point like a Scotch bluff. Everything has to be exact from the very beginning. I don't like doing Scotch bluffs or Edens or Cody points, although I'm going to be doing more of those on video. It's not my favorite. If I don't have OCD before the Scotch bluff, I definitely have OCD afterwards. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Yeah. It puts me in that mindset where I have to be persnickety the whole way through. I can't pace myself with those. Everything is misery from beginning to end. Yep. Mm-hmm. And at the ending, it's like, whoa. It doubles the misery because any mistake shows up as a stupid looking thing. Whereas, regular archaic points, if you make a mistake toward the end, there's artifacts with those kinds of mistakes. So it doesn't look out of place. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I could use a bopper again. Let's see. I see where I can use the bopper. Possibly. No? Yikes. That's a bad area. Right where I thought I could use the bopper. Let's see. Yeah, it just looked like a good opportunity like that. See, that's what I thought it would do the first time, but the first time it crushed. So I exposed a bad area? I think so. Mm-hmm. Yikes. See, that's what I mean by accuracy. Too much of a bite taken out. But it did do what I wanted as far as removing the thickness there. It's just too much off the side. I think we actually lost some viewers when I started napping. Usually I gain a bunch. I gain about 5 or 6 when I start napping, but this time I lost about 5 or 6. Yeah, he's napping the same thing as last time. That's why. You need exoticals. Exotic materials, dude. Yeah. What's the matter with you? I don't want to mess up my exotics. That's what's the matter with me. All right. What's exotics material? The fancy stuff. The heat-treated flint ridge. The Knife River flint. The Mookite. I've got some Mookite. I'm not going to do that on video. The Georgia Jasper heat treats. I might do some of those, but not much of those on video either. I got exotics like that I'm not going to do on video. I spent money on them. I'm not going to take excessive risks. Yeah. I have napped exotics on video before. And if the amount of viewers made up for it, it would be okay. But no. I might get a few extra viewers from exotic materials, but usually what gets more viewers is the larger pieces. Exactly what I don't like doing. So yeah, I'm stuck. But, at least I get to enjoy these, the smaller ones. Yeah. I enjoy these more than the other ones. Up to a point where I can enjoy it. I kid a lot about that, about the misery. Sometimes it is nothing but misery, but sometimes if the rock is cooperative, it's not nearly as miserable. Yeah. And these particular stones, they're actually pretty good. There is some inconsistency, but it's not bad. I can deal with the little inconsistencies. Like it's tough in some spots, and sometimes there's a little crystal pocket that interferes with the flake travel, makes it step fracture. Sometimes it crushes in areas like these concretey areas near the edge. They'll crush and they'll go, ha ha, you tried to take a flake, didn't you? They laugh at me. Okay. What time is it? Oh, I got plenty of time. It just seems like it's been taking me forever to get to this point. I don't know why. Let's see. Maybe because I'm thinking I need to take my time on this one because it's not as consistent as the other one. So choosing where I'm striking is a little more difficult. Yeah, like right there. Dang it. If I don't hit it just right, it's not going to work. And it's scooped out too much. I thought that was going to be difficult to nap right there. Turns out it was super easy, and I scooped it out too much. I was hitting it like it was going to be really hard to nap, which means that you put the flicker higher up on the edge, higher up, and then use more force when you think it's going to be harder to nap. Not always, but that's a general rule. And then it scooped out too much. Let's see. Yeah, it's working out. It's working out well. I see where I can possibly have some difficulties, but for the most part, it's working out well. Okay. So the first stage of thinning is done. Now I'm getting into the second stage, which is usually the sweat stage. When I say I'm in the sweat stage, it's usually after the bifacing and the preliminary thinning. It starts getting hard on the final thinning and the finishing. So the hard parts for me are the sweat stage, so to speak, because I start to sweat. If I start to feel the sweat coming on, that means I've reached a difficult stage. So I'm going mainly by how I'm feeling right now. I'm going, okay, this is it. This is getting to the point where I'm starting to feel the anxiety. Yeah. Luckily, it doesn't interfere too much with the napping because I'm used to it by now, dealing with the sweat stage. But it took a while because yeah, it affects the napping. If you go into it knowing it's going to be difficult, it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the opposite is also dangerous. You can't go into it thinking it's going to be easy because you'll mess up. All you need is one mess up. You can have like 5 perfect flakes and then one messed up. because you thought it was going to be easy. Oh, dang. It's starting to step fracture. Yes, it is. I wasn't having much trouble with step fractures a little bit earlier, but now I am. Ooh, that was lucky. Yes, it was. I got all the little step fractures out with one strike. That's lucky. And it was on an area that had a little bit of concrete. Yeah. Nice. The material down here near the stem is nice. Which is okay, especially when it comes to notching. It's always nice to have good material where there's going to be notches. If you had a choice, well, it depends on the type of notching too. I always try to put the best material at the tip if possible. But putting the best material down here is necessary if the notching or the stem is difficult to do. And sharpening up the tip, even if the material's not that great, is not that difficult. It's just pretty straightforward. Just put tapering it this way, taper it that way. But for the stem, if it's nasty material and you've got to put notches and make sure it looks right, you want the good material. Yeah. So these type of flakes toward the end, as part of the final thinning, is something that took me forever to learn. Yeah. This kind of flaking took me forever, just so you know. Years and years and years before I could actually produce a flake like that. Yeah. Now I can produce one or two of those, maybe, I don't know exactly, but I can produce at least one or two of those per point to flatten it, thin it out, clean up whatever's in there in the middle, and then enjoy the results. Yeah. Sometimes I do a lot of stuff just to get one of those flakes. Make sure the surface is convex enough. Make sure the flake isn't too long according to the material. Some materials don't allow you to make long flakes without a lot of preparation. That's, more perfect than other stones require. Some stones don't require perfect preparation. Yeah. What are some of the stones that don't require perfect preparation? Let me think. That's a good question. It varies. But I think raw chert, high-grade raw chert in general, like this stuff, doesn't require perfect preparation. It's kind of forgiving, but not all of it. But I would say in general, the high-grade raw stuff is going to require less perfection and still give you reasonable results. But some edges on some stones, they crush really easy. The flakes, they don't want to travel at all. They're so brittle. I think it has to do with the flexibility of the stone itself. What makes a stone or a raw stone high grade is its flexibility. And its, color, of course, is one of the considerations for high grade. If you want to scale it on a scale of 1 to 10, as an example, Color is a consideration, but as far as forgiveness or ease of napping without everything being perfect, it's the high grade raw stuff. Okay. Like hornstone. But hornstone will show your defects really, really well because the flake scars show up quite a bit. They're striking on a hornstone, or they're very noticeable. Like on this stuff, it's the flake scars are not as noticeable. If this was hornstone, you could see the flake scars a lot better, I think. Okay, let's see. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. How about that? That's good. Like that. Yeah. And it will start diving also. Once it starts getting flat, the flakes will start diving in, and you don't want that. Nope, nope, nope. It already started diving in a little bit on me. That's what raises the anxiety level. See, there's a little bit of diving going on in here toward the middle now. As it gets flatter, these flakes, they want to stay curved, so they start diving in, which sometimes the Native Americans would take advantage of that and then just create a bunch of step fractures in the middle, but it would be thin. But it looked terrible in the middle because it would dive in. But they would keep it like that. They just leave it because their object was thinness, not prettiness. For whatever reason. Usually for future sharpening, you want the point to be thin. You don't want to have to encounter thick areas when you need to resharpen. Nope, nope, nope. And it also slices better with a thin blade. Okay, so that's unfortunate that it'll dive. I don't know if I can get that out later. I need to try to get it out now. Yeah. Almost. Come on. It didn't do it. Oh well. I gotta leave it in or pick it out. Sometimes they can be picked out. Yes. That one hit my front door, but it picked. Yeah, I lessened the diving flake by picking it out, so that was lucky. But see, it's already way too flat. For some reason, I made a nice flake on there earlier. I thought it would not be too flat, but it is apparently. Okay. A little bit more thinning and then we'll be done. What time is it? 9:30? No, 3:30. It's raining outside. I don't want to thin the middle too much. Hold on. I was going to take some flakes off the middle just then, but no. Work on the ends. Make sure these are thin first. Thin ends, yes. If you're wondering why I skip around sometimes, it could be because I forget to thin the ends or something. So it looks like I'm preparing to hit the middle, and then all of a sudden I hit the end. It's because I forgot. I forgot the end. See, I don't want to be hitting like that when it's too thin in the middle. Yikes, that didn't go anywhere. What am I doing? Where am I going? Okay. Yeah, like that. That's better. Yeah, just like that. I can live with that. Yeah. That's not too bad either. Did it do it? Almost did it. Almost. See, if I were to put like the marker around where I think these flakes are going to go, or draw out where I think they're going to go, a lot of times they're not going to be that way. It's going to be like one of those, it almost did it. Almost. See, that one actually did better than I thought it was going to do. I am very happy about that one. Holy moly. That was lucky because I didn't like that mess. Although I didn't show it, that was a happy flake. Yes, yes. Okay. I am done with the secondary thinning, except I need to thin the tip down a little bit more. I mean, I can do that during the final finishing. Should I? I shouldn't push my luck. But it's a little bit too, the tip is a little bit too thick. See, from the center on, it needs to taper, but it hasn't. There's a lump right there. I need to get rid of that at some stage. Let's reduce the size of the flaker and see if I can knock these bumps off and get it thinner. Yeah. Hold on. I still got some time. Yeah. Okay. Save up your questions. I'll be jumping into the chat here pretty soon. I'm going to work my way down the tip here. Well, that's not going to work. Let's do. What happened? I sharpened. See, I've got two now. Two of these 5/16. One is more pointy. These are more pointy than this. So I was not able to get the flakes I wanted with the more pointy one. So let's try the thicker one. See if that works. The more pointy one gouged it. Instead of running the flake, it just crunched it right in there. So you want it to have enough surface area to take off a bigger flake. See, whereas before it just kind of crunched it when it had a smaller tip. Now sometimes it works the opposite way, where a smaller tip can give you a bigger flake. But in this case, it didn't do that. Yeah, see, the flake I wanted before, that was the flake I wanted before. Because this flake I took off just before that is right here. See, I don't know if you can see. Anyway, just so you know, the first time I hit it with a small, sharp tip, crushed it. So I came down here with a larger tip and it did run it. I went back up here with a larger tip and it did run that flake. That's what I first wanted and didn't get. Okay. And it could also be the way that I prepared the edge too. So, but I think for the most part, it just needed a larger surface area to remove the larger flake. Okay. Dang, that needed to be hit hard. That's scary. Okay. Scary because I'm right on the edge of breaking it. Yes. And the raw stone, it eats up the tools as well. it might be forgiving, but the other side of it is it eats up the tools. I got to make sure the edge is not lumpy at all, because I want firm contact with this. I don't want to have to hit it really, really hard. You can make up for not having firm contact with the edge by hitting it harder, but you risk snapping the whole thing. Okay. Oops. That didn't go nowhere. That didn't go anywhere. All right, so I'm going to stop. Yeah. I'm pushing my luck a little bit too far, but it's still, the tip still needs to be tapered down more, but I can do that as it gets more narrow. I'm going to wait and make it more narrow first before I thin down the tip more. See, I took a little bit too much off on one of these thinning flakes. They might look nice, but sometimes they weaken the whole thing. And in my case, it did weaken it quite a bit. So I took off mass from here, but I still have mass there, but I don't see a really good way or a good path unless I make it a little bit more narrow and beef up the edge. Because there's a little bit of chatter going on, which means this area is going to probably be tougher than this area or that area. So I'll make it more narrow, make the edge tougher so I can remove through a tougher area. But that you just learn to feel as it develops. Learn how it feels as it develops. Okay, so the one from yesterday is slightly larger. Okay. But I think I actually got more spalls like this today than yesterday. I got some good spalls off of that nodule. Yeah, I got, for instance, I got four good spalls. So, with that one nodule, I could have a knife and 4 arrowheads or 4 atlatl dart points. I would not use this as an atlatl dart point. It would be in my knife, and then I would use these for the atlatl dart points. Yeah, or arrowheads, whatever. But, I could knap this into arrow points, no, true arrow points, even something that small. So I wouldn't need a lot of spalls of that size if I was making arrow points for true arrows. But for atlatl dart points, yeah, you need these bigger chunks. And for modern arrowhead requirements that are like 150 grains, they're essentially atlatl dart points. You need these bigger chunks for the 150 or 200 grain arrowheads that some people like to use. Okay, I'm going to get back into the chat. We are done for now. Yeah. Translucency test. Yeah. Nice. What about the other one? It doesn't seem to be as translucent. This one seems to be more. Yeah. It's also more brittle. So it has more quartzite-like qualities. This one has more flint-like qualities. And it's very similar when it's high grade like this, very similar to Danish flint. Okay. So the closest thing to Danish flint is this high grade raw Edwards Plateau stuff that I've napped so far. In my experience, the closest thing to Danish flint is this high grade Edwards Plateau stuff. Not the Georgetown, but the Edwards Plateau. Some might even call this Pedernales chert in some cases, I guess. I don't know. I can't really keep the Texas stuff straight. All right. Straight. Yeah. So everyone would be happy about what I'm calling it. Yeah. It's hard to keep everybody happy in that respect. Okay. All right, almost done cleaning up. No. Okay, good. It's not family. Or it's not family or good friends. The stupid Walgreens. I haven't even ordered anything from Walgreens. It's probably a wrong number. That's trying to call somebody else. Or maybe they think my dad still needs medicine. You still need medicine? No, I don't need no medicine anymore. Oh, okay. Take me off your system. Oh, okay. And they call me again. You need medicine? My dad was Mr. Pills, so he had a bunch of prescriptions. I've never seen somebody with so many prescriptions. Anyway, here I am. We're back. Back in business? Yeah. Okay, let's see. I like my background. I think I might get another one though. Something more nature. Something that's got more nature in it. All right, so let's see. Did I get any? No. Just to make sure I got no important messages. What did I miss? Spam calls, yeah. Let's see. Sal says he's gotten 3 spam calls since the live stream. Why? They must know what we're doing. They like to bug us. Mm-hmm. Hey, where? Red-Eyed Patriot. Michael's in the house. All right. Hey, Gary Reed is in here. I missed his entrance. Okay, so let me go to the end. Still talking about rocks from the Walmart parking lot, I see. We still talking about Walmart rocks? Every live stream? No, not every live stream. There's not that many Walmarts that have good landscaping stone. Just so you don't start looking at every Walmart parking lot, okay? Gary says, Patrick, you should auction off all the extra right-handed gloves. You know what? I might do it. But for some reason, these gloves are wearing pretty evenly. I'm about to retire these as soon as I wear a hole in it in the right hand, but I haven't worn a hole in the right hand yet. They're wearing about the same. I'm using my other glove a lot more now. In general, I'm putting gloves on both hands now because I'm finding that I'm getting a lot of flake back. A lot of flakes are jumping backwards, especially with the obsidian. Yeah, so I'm wearing gloves on both hands now for a lot of my napping. Let's see. Sal says, Patrick, I just saw the nap and it was the 9th through the 12th. Yeah. I'll be there on the 9th, on Friday, right? 9, 10. It's Friday the 9th or 10th. Let's see here. Let me just check the calendar. October 9th is a Thursday. Okay, I'll be there on the 10th. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be there on the 10th, sometime in the afternoon, maybe 4 p.m. Just like last time. That allows me to do the auction and do the shipping before I leave. So it takes me 4 days to get there. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, so after I do the shipping, ship everything out before noon, and then take off, I can get there by Friday, 4 p.m. Something like that. Now, people are going to arrive on Wednesday. Even though it says that napping is from Thursday to Sunday, a lot of people arrive on Wednesday and camp out and have a good old time. And this is in Brady, Texas, heart of Texas napping we're talking about. Sal says, normally I thought it was the end of the month. Yeah, it has been the past few years. Yeah. Sal says I'll show up on the 9th. Okay. Yep. So it is in the early part of the month this time. Yeah, which is good. I want to be back by Halloween or before Halloween. Gary says, I'm guessing you'll come back from Texas with 5 buckets of the new Road Rock. I wish. No, I don't have room now. I'm not taking my van. I'm taking my car, which has got less room. My van is not working properly. Yeah, it's good. There's at least one leak in the coolant system, and I know where that is. I can replace that part. I just haven't replaced it yet. But I think there's another leak too. Anyways, I got to get those fixed before I take the van on a long trip. I can restore a lot more in my van than I can in my car. So maybe on the next trip, I'll bring my van and collect some road rock. Sal says, do you still want that Osage stave I have? I think I do, yes. Frodo Joe, Gary, I just stepped out for a bit. I am back now. All right. Yeah, I'm done with the napping. So yeah, we got another biphase made. Plus we got some good spalls for some points. And it's high grade raw material. Yep. Nice. Thinking of what I can make already. We'll see. I'll just probably make a bunch of art points. Those are the easiest. Graylin Landry, hello. You made it 2 minutes before the end of the live stream. Awesome. But you made it. And it's not the Twilight Zone yet. The Twilight Zone is when it's after the live stream is supposed to be over. Then when it's the Twilight Zone, I usually like to stay a little bit over in the Twilight Zone to see who shows up. Gary says, is that the door prize? Maybe I should have the last person that says, hey, I'm here, I made it. Maybe they should get the door prize. Graylin says, I've been busy. It's raining here. Yeah, it's raining here too. Although it's let up quite a bit. It was raining harder. Anyways, yeah, it's funny when guys show up toward the end of the live stream or sometimes after the live stream and say, I'm finally here. I made it. Yay. How's it going, guys? I'm all ready. Let's go. Nope, can't go. Sorry. Yeah, I've got to, end the live stream when it's supposed to be ended. Yeah, the favorite laugh at the end of the live stream. Yeah. Sal likes that one. Ed Gould says, what's your favorite point style? Mine is the clay and the AG. I still got to make a clay point for you, Ed. So don't get discouraged. I'm still going to make that clay point for you. It's a point called a clay point. It's not made of clay. It's called a clay. For those of you that don't know. Mike Mason says, what did I miss? Now, I know you're kidding. AG. Yeah, the AG points are good. I do like the way they look. Yeah. Glenn Sheets says AG is his favorite. So, my favorite point style, people keep asking me that. These days, I just want to say yes. But I think I'm liking to make my art points now more than any other thing. Whatever style that ends up being. And it doesn't have to match an archaeological style or something from history. Sal says, I hate making the AG points. Yeah, some of them can be a real hassle. Oh, I like, let's see, Turner and Hayes points. I've always liked those, and I do like those a lot. Turner and Hayes points. Yeah. But there's so many different ones that are cool. Yeah, so many that are awesome. And if I had to pick what I like and my favorite, I'm tending more to do the art points or to like those or favor those more than the other stuff. Sal says Marco